Hello. I wanted to do a tutorial on how to work with creative mode in the new Alpha 7 because it's different. Things have changed, and some people still don't really know how to do creative. People are new to the game, and they don't really explain it really well. So I'm naming the game creative. I over here select creative mode. Okay. Start location. I'm going to start on Omicron, um, just because. Now, empty world means you can see what happens. You'll either have a little starter base or not. It doesn't matter. See, if I started on Akua, you have a starter base or not, and like this, you get like two spaceships and this base. I usually start an Omicron orbit and leave the base there because when I'm done building my ship, uh, it I can use that as a scale to show how big the ship is when I take pictures of it. But we're gonna start on Omicron, empty world, and you don't need to do any kind of startup options or anything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and start the game, and so that's. Now I'm going to be telling you what keys to push, but I'm going to be telling you the default keys so that in case you remap the keyboard, I want to be over there. Now, first thing you want to understand about this, jetpack is unlimited. Turn the jetpack on and you're basically in fly mode. Now you notice I'm looking up, but I'm not going up. I'm looking down, but I'm not going down. It does work side to side. Okay. So I can fly side to side. Holding the run key doesn't affect your flying speed at all. You can still do side shift with the the A and S button, or the A and D button. So W is to go forward, A shifts you to the side, and of course space to go up, and C to go down. So I'm flying over here to where this flattish area is. As you can see, the jetpack does not deplete. Now, when you're in creative mode, there are no monsters, so you don't have to worry about spiders or tentacle monsters or anything else coming after you and messing with you. There's no aliens, there's no drones, there's no patrol vessel, there's no POIs, and I don't think there's actually even any resource deposits. It says there, oh. Yeah, it says there's no deposits. So, another thing you want to understand is there's no fall damage. You don't have to worry about your health. You don't have to worry about eating. And you don't have to worry about air. I could take my helmet off. I could actually take my armor off. It doesn't matter. There's no temperature. You don't have to worry about that. Another thing is you hit escape. You come up here to this little hand. That's your, and you can say what time it is. So what you want to do is pick a time when it's nice and bright and sunny out. And this is the speed. Set this down to 0. And time stands still. You don't have to worry about the sun going down while you're trying to build, so you don't have to be out here with a bunch of lights or whatever. It'll just always be bright and sunny. So, let's see, what else is there? Anything else of interest? Alright, let's go ahead and hit the H to bring up the item menu, and you can have all of the items that are in the game, including alien blocks, and this is alien blocks. Basically, it looks like a core, but you can turn it into any kind of alien block, like the yeah. That's how you would get things like the loot crates and stuff like that. This is the actual. Well, this is the admin core, and there is an alien core in here someplace, I think, or maybe the alien core is in here too. But what you do is you left click to get a full stack. Shift left click does the same thing. Right click gives you one of the item. Okay? So no matter how many it says, like this says you get 5, so if I click left click on this, I get 5. If I right click, I get 1. Now things like large constructor, you only get 1, but you can just keep clicking on it to get as many as you want. And that doesn't really... Now what I always do, I like to have tier 2 multi-tool, color tool, and the texture tool. Now, you don't need the multi-tool for things like remove or anything. I'll show you that later. There's also the debug drill if you want to drill into the ground. I don't do that much. I don't think you need charge. Yeah, you do. You need you have to have multi-charges. So I'm just going to put these up here. And let's go grab some blocks. I want to build... let's go with a base starter and a bunch of hardened steel blocks. Now, it'll automatically send everything down to your hotbar. When your hotbar is full, it sends it over to your inventory. So you can come over here and you can say, alright, well, if I'm building a base, let's get base stuff only. I want the big fuel tanks. 20 of those. Oxygen tanks, 1, 2, let's go 30 of those. I'm just grabbing stuff. Medic station, oxygen station, cargo box, POI. That's not the one you want to use. Let's see. I want the tier 2 generator, this guy here, and I want 5 of those. Like that. So anyway, basically, pick out the blocks that you think you're going to need. You don't have to. You can just, anytime you want, you can just keep hitting N and say, okay, I need a constructor, hit N, grab a constructor, like that. I like to have all the stuff in ahead of time. Alright, so we start with our... And now I turn the jetpack on. Okay, so as normal, you right click to place a single block. You hold the right click and drag to place multiple blocks. Now there's a thing about that. If I try to do this, it confuses it. Okay, I'm trying to drag up, but it doesn't know that. If you go at an angle, it'll figure it out. So if you come at the edge, you can go up. So if it gives you any trouble going up, like you're sitting here and you're like, go up, you dumbass, what are you doing, you're stupid. Come over here on the edge, and then you can go up. Okay? There is structural integrity in creative mode. So keep that in mind. And, alright, so to remove a block, you would hold the left shift. You have to have a block in your, you have to be using a block while you're holding a block, basically, hold the left shift, which is the run key, and right click, and it removes the block. Whatever block you're pointing at, it removes it. Unfortunately, this only works. You can't drag and delete multiple blocks, just the one at a time. Okay, now one of the biggest tools you're going to need, hit N, and it brings up the build menu. Click symmetry plane, click the plane you want to have, and then click, see how this is on the edge of the block, and now it's in the center. So click on the edge of the block, where you want the plane to be, either on the edge or in the center. And I can put it here, it's on that edge. Now it's in the center of this block. Now it's on the edge of the block. I want to do it in the center, so we're going to hit N again. And now every time you put a block here, it puts a block there. So we drag like this. The remove block works across the symmetry plane. So if you did it like that, and you're going to remove this block, it'll remove that block as well, which is really nice. Because if you were like, crap, I didn't want to put a block there, oh well, let's remove that block, and we're going to put a block here like this, and that's what I actually wanted it to look like. So then over here, alright, and that's what I want. So this, and then hold the control while, okay, so you hold the left mouse button excuse me, to drag it sideways, then you hold the control to drag out a plane. And that's how you do that. So, and that of course works in directions, and the same rules apply. Is if it doesn't want to go up, then you might have to catch it on the edge to get it to go up. But right now we're going like this, and then we say, well, I want a doorway here. We shift click, and now we've got a doorway. And of course you've got the right menu with all of these wonderful, wonderful blocks. And then so that's how you do that. Now, so far this is nothing new. This is pretty much the same way, except for when you do the end menu, the menu stays up even if you're not holding the holding the end button. Now the debug is for the show mass, structural integrity, oxygen, airtight. Okay, so if I hit uncheck symmetry, it doesn't disappear. And when I see that, so you have to hit N, and you have to hit symmetry plane none to get the symmetry plane to stop being there. Okay, so again, that's pretty much the only difference between previous versions and this one, is that the you don't have to hold the end button, and you just hit it and it stays up, and then the symmetry plane can be either in the center of the block or the edge of the block, and you have to hit none to get it to disappear. The reason you have the checkbox is because you also have the selection, and this is the tricky part. Okay, so while you're holding a block, Click. Nothing, right? Hit N, selection, and I'm going to click, and this thing appears, and holy crap, what is this thing? It's gone. This is really annoying the way they implemented this, and they'll probably fix it later. But for right now, you click the double one here, just is for fast movement, okay? The single one moves you a single block at a time. Now this, with the cones, is in move mode, so you click on the green one to go up, like that, you push the blue one, and it'll move one block on whatever plane you're on, and if you hold the arrow down, it'll just fly on whatever plane you're on. Click the black guy, the black circle in the middle, and they turn to boxes. Ooh. And when we click on this, it gets wider. Okay? Now, here's the part I do not like. You cannot move. You have to hit N. And I can go, wow, holy crap, I did not even... So now I have to turn this back on. I have to go back into move mode and move it over the block that I'm actually trying to highlight. And now I go back into enlarge. Hit N again so that I can move. And I can see now that I have this whole selection selected. Hit N again. And click on the little black guy in the center, and we've got these little rotation arrows. They do absolutely nothing right now. So what's the point? Over here, copy. Now, paste. And now we're going to go into the move. And we're going to move it back. It's come down. Now I could leave that selection there. And you can see I've just copied that whole thing and moved it over there. Or we hit N, we go click, click, and now we can rotate it on whatever axis we want. Now I'm going to come up, and then let's see, let's rotate it this way. Now I want to go back into move, and then let's move it. I hit N so that I can relocate, and there it is. So it kind of sucks that you can't move the selection block. You can't move your character while you've got the end menu up. Now what I'm going to do, excuse me, is I'm going to go into resize, and we're going to come down one. And what happened? My selection disappeared. Whoops. And now see, I don't see how you can make the selection smaller. Well, you hold the arrow, you click on the double guy here, and you can actually move it to wherever you want. Okay, but what happened to my selection? So we go over here to paste, and it's back, and move selection, scale selection, rotate selection. That's just what I did there by clicking on the black thing. So I can go to scale, and you see how it's the black boxes now, and I can rotate, it's the rotate guys now. Cut, delete, remove, save to list, replace, or copy to selection. Okay, now I turn that off, hit N, I still have that annoying green box. I want to get rid of that annoying green box. How do I get rid of that annoying green box, you ask? I don't know. Let's, there, now it's an annoying blue box. And, see, so what happened there is I removed one of the blocks, structural integrity kicked in, so I hit N, and I hit paste, and it's back. And of course I can hit delete and it's gone again. I can paste. Now I would use cut if I didn't want that to be there and I wanted to move it. Now what I'm trying to do is I want to not have, so now here's another thing. I cannot add a block to this. The block I'm holding is not snapping. It'll snap here, but it's not snapping to the selection. Too far away from the center of the structure. Now see that what happened? What's in the green isn't actually there. But if I remove a block from this edge, I can't. I can't remove. So hit N. Paste. Hit N again. Now I can snap to it. And structural integrity still applies. So, to bring that back, now copy to selection. I don't know what, I don't have to read up on that. Replace causes an error, and save to list. Let's say T, because I don't feel like typing. So we've got T. Now we can bring T up anytime we want. We can either delete it or rename it. Hit N. I can't move. And again, hit N. Turn the selection off. Okay. Now again, I can't do anything with it because it's got the green box. So I hit N, I hit paste. It's now the blue box. I can put this here and here. So now if I put this on top, it doesn't fall because there's actually something holding it up at this point. But if I take this block out and this block, well, that's kind of weird. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to end, and I'm going to click selection again, and we're going to move the selection up one and hit paste, and then we're going to go to rotate. Again, you can click on the block in the center to do the same thing, and bing, 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 and let's do it. Now you notice the arrows don't move, so you don't have to chase them around. They stay where they are. So we want to go back to move, and we're going to come up one, and we're going to go over one, and then we're going to go to paste. And so that you could keep doing that. That's how. And of course, if I wanted to, I could move the selection over here and I could do one at a time, or I could drag it. Have to hit N again. Get into a better position. I want to come down one, and then I want to rotate it. Can't do it because I have to paste first. Okay? Now I come back into rotate. Now I have to go back into move. Like that. Now I want to rotate it this way. And again, have to move it again. Like that, and then we say paste. And then we take selection off. Hit N. And blocks will snap to it. So as you can see, there's still some bugs with the selection tool. It's a really awesome tool, and once they get it working properly, I'm going to be using the hell out of it. Absolutely love the idea of being able to do that. Now, another thing I wanted to test is we go into N, and I want to do selection, and we're going to move it down. One more. And then we're going to resize it. Now you'll notice the core is a different color here. It's like light blue. So let's hit N. And when I come down, okay, and again, and I want to move down, and I want to move it up. Okay. Now we're sticking way too far out this way, but we don't have enough this way, so I need to go to move, like that. We're still a little bit big, so I want to go to scale. Whoops. Like that. Again, using the using these blocks pushes it out one, but the only way to get it to go in one is to click on these and drag it. So that lets you drag it any way you want. This only pushes it out one. It won't push it back, and if you click this one, it sends the other side out. So if you want to go back, if you're too far, you have to use the double one. So now we have our selection, and let's make it a little bit wider so that it does the entire thing. Alright, so hit N, and we're going to say cut. That's interesting why that's there. And then I want to take my selection, and I want to move it up, up, up. And paste. Now you notice it's green, and blocks are not snapping to it. I gotta hit N and hit paste again to let it know that that's where I want it to be. Now I'm gonna hit copy, and then we're gonna move our selection. over here and hit paste and hit paste. And that's where this thing really comes in handy. This is where you're going to be using this the most. So I want to move this. I'm in move mode. I'm going to drag this over here. And right there, I'm going to hit paste. Okay. And then I got to hit paste again. And there we go. So that just saved you a lot of work. And yeah, you could have used the symmetry plane, you know, to do that. But and you'll notice there's a core in each one of these. And they are subject to structural integrity. So there's a lot of work that they need to do. By the way, just so you know, the reason I use the multi-tool is for rotate. In case I need to rotate a block. Especially when I'm doing texturing. Previously, if you put a texture on and it didn't line up, you would have to use the multi-tool to change it to the direction you want. But now, okay, let me get back into the texture tool. I can change direction. You can't drag it. You have to click on each one. Now, if you want to apply the texture, you can drag it. Okay? Now, like this one, they're all standing up. Now, if I click this so that they're laying down, I want those standing up as well. And I try to drag it. Like that. So I want to put this one in here. I cannot get those controls up at the top. It'll only go sideways or at the bottom. So I can use the multi-tool, but that doesn't do me any good because now the block is going the wrong way. So you're very limited to how you can rotate the texture. See, I can put this here. If this were a square block, I could change it. So now, let's go ahead and put a square block. And now I'm stuck. N. Yep. No. See what I did now? Okay, well anyway, that's some of the basics that you need to know for working with creative. Is don't delete all the blocks and then try to place a block, because that's okay. So at this point, I have to go back over here, grab a block. Oh, here it is. There. I was looking at the top. I don't know why I expected it to be at the top. We have to start a new base. Okay, so let's go with a square block. And let's see what this is. Now I take a texture. And I'm going to say replace mode. Wow. That's awesome. I will show you more of that in just a second. But I want to apply the whole block. Okay? And I click this texture, bam, it applies it to the whole block. Now, if I say take off the apply to whole block, I can rotate that texture to a limited degree. Now, you'll notice this texture on each side is different. So I come over here, see how the texture on the side is rotating, and then so okay. Now I'm going to do this, and then, okay, let's turn the symmetry plane back on. We're going to take selection and turn it off. Click on, oh yeah, that's right. I broke the menu. I broke the end menu. Hold on a second, I'll be right back. You do still get the meteorites. Not the resource meteorites, just the random meteorites on Omicron, which is cool. Can I do it? Yes, I can do this now. Symmetry plane. Ding. Boom. Nope. In the center. Okay. So, we're going to do this. Now, the way... This is another thing that they've changed, is the symmetry plane now does textures and colors. Okay? Now here's the thing. Let's say I want to replace this texture. So wherever this is, okay, now this obviously wasn't a really good example because that's still the symmetry plane. But did you see what happened? Everywhere there was an untexture, it now turned into, and that applies to the entire object. Every single block that had the default texture now has the texture that I just gave it. Now I want to this, and then let's replace. So you see how every single one of those has turned into that. So if I take replace off, and I'm going to go with this, I'm going to go bing, bing, just random. And I have to turn the symmetry plane off. Does not work, right? I have to hit none. Okay. So let's just throw some random textures up. So this is how this works. I go to replace mode, select the texture you want, and everywhere one of these is, becomes one of those. And that's anywhere on this entire object that happens to, which is way cool. Now, apply the whole block and replace mode. Now, it didn't apply to a whole block, as you can see. It only replaced the texture. But it retains the color when you do that, as you can see. And of course this works the same way with colors. Let's go over here, put some random now I want to do in replace mode. Let's go brown. And so everywhere that texture appeared is now changed to a different color. That's cool. That's awesome. I love that. And then we go back to default color, and then we can do this. Back to default texture. And then, how does this work with symbols? First of all, do the symbols work on the symmetry plane? They do. Even rotating them. Now the symbols will go in all four directions, but textures can only go in the two. That's odd. Huh. So let's do this. Covers a large area. A medium area. And of course the small area is just a single block. This is cool because if you do apply to whole block, replace mode, large, nothing. You actually have to click on something that isn't that texture to get it to turn into that texture. So when you're in replace mode, you can't just, you have to click on something that isn't the texture you want to change. Because obviously I can't change it to that texture if it already is that texture. So anyway, I don't think it matters if you go large or small if you're in replace mode, and it doesn't matter if you click apply to whole block, as long as you say replace every occurrence of the first texture with the second texture. And then again, take it out of replace mode, put back on this. The fact that this works with the symmetry plane is so incredibly cool. As you can see, it rotated like that. So let's see, what else was there? Colors. There are no more colors. This is all the colors we get. You can see down here in the lower right, it's got that red thing that says I'm in replace mode. And that doesn't work because there. Now I can go into replace mode and pick this. That's interesting. Okay. Alright, so there it is. That's the symmetry plane. And another thing that you we do have the undo. And I could just do this until I end up back at where we started. Or, I don't know, did you count how many of those there were? Because that's how far back you can go. So, the undo is awesome. Alright, so over like this, and I want to do a texture, replace all, this. Okay, you see that? Just replaced all those, blah 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 blah. So that's something when you're building and you're like, okay, I want to put these over here, but then you're like, oh crap, it did these over here too. So you make sure you turn off the symmetry plane by hitting none, if you want to have these, like I want to put a vent over here. Oops, I'm still in replace mode. Crap. Okay, let's put these back. Like that, except for I want to have it. See how that did not work? I have to end each individual one to get them to rotate. Now, I want to put a vent here. It's not going to put a vent over here, okay? Because of the symmetry plane. And then over here, I want to have this guy. I don't like that background. I'd rather have this. That looks a little bit better, don't you think? Let's see what it would look like with this. And that's where this comes in really handy. Or things like, say for example, you've got this thing in and having a little trouble getting that block behind something. This is a bad example because you can get behind this. But, anyway, see how it's a pain in the ass? There's two ways you could handle that. You could either go apply the whole block and change that, or you find out replace mode, and that, you know, so if you have something that you can't, here's a good example. The large constructor is a major pain in the ass to try to texture behind. Let's turn that off. Let's go to page 2. So I want to have all of these, but I can't get those two to change. So I could either do apply the whole block and then do it this way. Now that creates a problem. Uh-oh, now what do I do? Let's apply the whole block, select this one, and then we're going to uncheck apply the whole block. Wow, look at those. Go to replace mode. Nothing I can do there. Oh well. We'll go back into rotate. There. Let's take a look at those. I don't think I've ever seen... Not do. I don't think I've ever seen these. I don't know if these... Ooh. How awesome is that? Oh my god, I love those. Do the whole thing in that. I love that texture. I've never seen that before. That must be new. This one I've seen. That's kind of cool looking. But yeah, there's all these new textures, and I highly recommend everybody to go into creative mode and just goof off. Just look at everything and say, wow, look at that. How cool is that, you know? Because you never know. It might be inspiring. Alright, that's a cool thing. Let's take a look. Replace all with this. That's nice. That's a cool looking thing. Okay. So let's do this. This is also a great thing. Like, you just sit there and you just built your ship, and you're like, I want to make sure I get all of these are the same texture. Instead of having to fly around the ship and texture every single block. That's awesome. I love that. Another thing that's kind of cool that they did recently, excuse me, we have this, and then we have this. Which is like the light and dark version. And then, oh, they don't have the light and dark version. But this one is, okay, so then you can come up here and take the, that shows it off a little bit better. You know, to give the wall some depth or something, some really interesting texture. You can make a pattern. So that's kind of cool. I like that. We're having a lot of fun. And of course you put the symmetry plane on and do that. So I hope you learned a little bit, helped out a little bit. And if I come up with anything else, I'll go ahead and include that in another video. But for right now, this is what I've been able to figure out so far. The selection thing is really cool, and once they get it working properly, it's going to be awesome. But for right now, it's kind of a pain to work with. So let me know in the comments if you have anything else that you'd like to know about, and I'll see you next time.